We start with the Defense Headquarters, who have denied claims that the military has embarked on reprisals on the Okwama community following the killing of troops of the 181 Amphibious Battalion while on a mediatory mission. The DHQ is reacting to several allegations and videos on the incident. Arise correspondent Ferdinand Drohoa reports.
It is more than 48 hours after news broke about the killing of military personnel on a mediatory mission in Okwama community in Delta State, and the military says it has taken no action of reprisal on the community. The statement by the DHQ follows allegations that the military had killed and burnt houses in Okwama community. Director Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says the armed forces, being a disciplined force that complies with rules of engagement, laws of armed conflict and respect for human rights, would be guided by these provisions. The Nigerian Army has also called for a general condemnation of the killing of the troops in Delta State. Spokesperson of the Nigerian Army, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, says it is regrettable that the community, complicit in this act, has resorted to media propaganda rather than engage in a positive effort to fish out the perpetrators. Meanwhile, the DHQ has released pictures of the slain personnel and is calling for the public to resist the temptation of allowing any videos of their killing from going viral so they will not be dishonored. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tarid Lawaja, also has commiserated with the families of the deceased and directed that no stone should be left unturned until the perpetrators of these acts are apprehended and brought to book. Ferdinand Drohoa, Arise News.
Right, well, that's the latest development. Still a lot to take away and unpack.
At first, like I said yesterday, I reiterate my condemnation for the killing of our troops and my commiserations to the families. I mean, there are pictures that are just out now for to humanize them. They had hopes, they had dreams, they had aspirations, and they died, in the line of duty for our dear country. And may their memory never be forgotten. But apart from that, there are many sides to a story. I think Dr. Bati and I this morning were talking about very famous Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's TED Talk, where she talked about the danger of a single story. And in a time of crisis, we shouldn't have the danger of a single story. What's the story about the military? The story about the military is the fact that, yes, they're going to react, they're going to find the people that did this, but they have not said anything as regards the sacking of that community, which we saw flames and everything. So the question we shall ask is, who did this then? Who did this? Because there was another tweet attributed, and the video was seen via a tweet of the village up in flames. Who did this? We must get to the root of the matter, and that's why I would like the Delta State Governor to set up a panel of inquiry, an independent panel of inquiry, independent of both sides, the military and the side of the village. And also, when the military finally gets the perpetrators of this crime, they should remember that we are in a society that has constitution and laws of the land. Any prosecution still needs to go through the legal process. I know, sad as it may be, they want to get their own pound of flesh. Their gallant officers were killed in the line of duty. But we must follow the rule of law. That's the reality on ground. So nobody must take laws in their hands. That's one part of it. And I know a lot of people are going to roar and say, oh, if it was your person that was hurt and all of that. I get that sentiment. Please don't get me wrong. But we need to follow the rule of law, because the only thing that is keeping us together is a respect for the rule of law. And without it, we'll have anarchy. So that's one part of the story. The army saying this is propaganda against their slain troop. That's their own side of the story. But in the bid not to have the danger of a single story and not to make the mistake, there's another side to the story. DRTV, Delta Rainbow Television, the state broadcaster, there was a news feature where some eyewitnesses in the community were interviewed. And this is their own side of the story. They talked about the fact that the army, yes, truly came for the peace meeting. They welcomed them in the community town hall. In fact, they wedged cola. Wedging of cola is a cultural tradition to welcome somebody. And after the peace meeting, They said the military said they wanted to take some of their people off for investigation, and they refused, and they said they opened fire on them. But you know, in their own part too, they didn't give account as regards the ambush. That's their own side of the story. So now that we've had both sides of the story, and also there's another part of the story that says yesterday that the governor was in there, but the army denied access. So the question is, why are they denying access? And why are journalists not getting there now? Because by now, at least if we're truly ready to get to the end of this matter, we should have an independent assessment team to cordon off that place. An independent assessor should be there now. Journalists will have been given a chance, even if they don't want to touch the evidence, we should cordon every place off so that we have independent body look at it. In all of this, I've been able to tell the two sides of the story so we don't make the danger of a single story evident. But in going forward, we need to restore peace to that area. And this is where the Governor Sheriff Obori has to step in. We need an independent panel of inquiry to see what has happened, the remote causes, and we need to start building the peace in that area again. And everybody found wanting must be made to face the full wrath of the law. Nobody, I repeat, should take laws into their hands.
Okay, this morning in my column at the back page of the This Day newspaper, I've written an extensive commentary on the developments in Okuama, or generally, if you like, in Delta State, and the crisis that has now extended to Bayelsa State. I titled the piece, The Casualties of Okuama, and I took my departure point from a poem written in 1970 by late Professor John Pepper Clark, Bekideramo, one of the masters of that, genre in Nigerian literature. And in Casualties, he was reflecting on the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 70. And what he said in 1970, my argument, is that Professor Clark aptly describes what is going on in the country now. That when you have this kind of situation, a war situation, as it were, because it will appear that Nigeria is in a state of war, effectively and literally and figuratively. All of us are casualties because there is an assault on our humanity, on our sense of reason, and our relationships. And if care is not taken, all of this will lead into the kind of anarchy, anomie, chaos that we have seen. With reference to the March 14 incident in Okuama in Delta State, now there's a lot of trading of blames. The community is saying the slain soldiers came and attacked us. They didn't come there to arrest. They came there to kill. And then the youths mobilized and tried to protect the community. The military, the narrative is that these are soldiers on active duty on a peace mission who were ambushed by a community involved in a land dispute, and at the end of the day, 17 of them were slain, not 16. The photos and names released by the defense headquarters now indicates that indeed 17 men fell in that encounter. Now this speaks to, in my view, the creeping failure, the increasing failure of the Nigerian state. When you have a country where citizens that are supposed to be protected now turn on those that are supposed to protect them. What further evidence do you need of the failure of the state? I cited in my piece today that once upon a time in the United States, I was at an airport lounge, and then the Marines arrived from wherever in the world. The entire airport stood up to applaud them. That was, a case of a people appreciating soldiers, defending the interests of America and American exceptionalism. Here in Nigeria, we have found ourselves in a situation whereby familiarity has led to contempt. And I've complained about how using policemen, soldiers, to do police work has its own drawbacks. And this is one of the things we're seeing. Section 217 of the 1999 Constitution, sub 2C, says that, look, you can use soldiers in aid of civil situation, civil authority, but not on a permanent basis. How did we get to a situation in this country where soldiers are now getting involved in resolving land dispute? Where soldiers, link up with omoniles, land grabbers, land contractors. And then at the end of the day, 17 of them will get slaughtered. So it seems to me that what has happened in Okwama, now extended to Bayelsa State, along the creeks, along the Forcados River, raises a number of questions. How did soldiers get involved in land dispute? Who authorized the peace mission? How did the youths of Okwama become so empowered militarily that they could overwhelm a unit of the Nigerian army? And where does this leave us as a people? If soldiers are not safe in Nigeria, then who is safe? It means all of us are just dead meat. Anybody can just overrun any part of Nigeria. And that is why I think the major challenge from President Tinubu, who has personally called for justice and who has said that the defense headquarters has been given the full authority to get to the bottom of this, must also realize the importance of Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution, the need to pay more attention by the Nigerian government to the security and welfare of the people. Now, Rufai says the governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oberewori, should set up an independent panel of inquiry. Look, he's beyond Oberewori. He himself doesn't even know what is going on. Because if he had any idea, my argument is that the crisis in Delta State along the Forcados River reaching a boiling point would not have happened if he had any clue. What we have seen is that these governors also get involved in ethnic conflicts within their region. If they are from one part of the place, they will support the part, that they come from subterraneously, because we cannot provide any concrete evidence. The only evidence that we have is that these same people that are fighting, the Ijos, the Shekiris, the Urubus, in Ewu Kingdom, who are fighting along the Forcados River. This disunity doesn't get to the other room. You may think it's comical, but it is a fact. These people in Tamari, they speak each other's languages, and we have in this station concrete evidence of this, bedroom unity. When Efeni comes, I will remind him of how he shares affinity with all the groups. That's evidence of the kind of unity that is possible. But when it comes to land, when it comes to politics, the people of the Delta States, as is the case with people from other parts of the country, cannot unite. What we have to say is that the people themselves have the responsibility. All those traditional leaders, community leaders who were saying the soldiers did not consult them before they embarked on a peace mission, they have a responsibility to also ensure peace in their communities. As for what has been described as the reprisal attack, well, one part of it is condemnable. Those who kill soldiers, they should be found out and made to face the wrath of the law. At the same time, the kind of jungle justice that has been reported from Okwama to, is it Ugboroma 2 or something, in Bayelsa State, or Udilana 2, something, maybe I'm not pronouncing it well. It's also not justifiable. Those unknown soldiers should be fished out if indeed the military is responsible for the reprisal in those communities. Because one form of injustice does not justify another form of injustice. The reason we have a legal system, a constitutional system, a rule of law framework is that people are not allowed under the laws of Nigeria to resort to jungle justice. Otherwise, we will be pushing the country to the brink. We'll be pushing the country back to what Thomas Hobbes calls the state of nature, And we are very close to the state of nature, where life is nasty, short, and brutish, and people are behaving like animals. Can the Leviathan wake up? That's the Nigerian state, Kwa states, and ensure security of lives and property in this region, this environment called Nigeria. For everybody, whether soldier or civilian, cladded traditional ruler, or white-collar jobbers like Rufai Husseini. Everybody must be made safe.
Absolutely, Dr. Abati. I take a cue from you, especially when you refer to nations like the United States, how the veterans are received when they walk through a place. And it reminded me of a poem by Wilfred Owen from the World War, which says, Dulce et decorum est pro mi patria more. It is of sweet and proper
for one to die for one's country.
Now, where is the honor that we're giving to our military men? Where is the honor in being a soldier? Because it is supposed to be the highest honor to be prepared to die for one's country. But what are the issues that we're sacrificing their lives over? Yesterday I said unpatriotic. I maintain this is unpatriotic. We need to revert back to love for our nation, which is love for one another and love for our forces, love for coexistence, cohabitation. And I really appreciated the fact that we got to see pictures and names of these soldiers, because they're not just statistics. These are human beings. There's one that touched me specifically, who was the Lieutenant Colonel he was the commanding officer, and his name is Lieutenant Colonel Abdullahi Hassan Ali. So he paid the ultimate price. But guess what? His brother, Captain J.H. Ali, was a junior officer who was also killed in military service in Katsina State in 2019. So a family has lost two of their men in the line of service, the line of duty for Nigeria. So we really need to ask ourselves, where is the system failing us? And where can each one of us take part? It's not about pointing fingers. It's not about the blame game. It's not about this one did this one did that. At the end of the day, it's our lives at stake. It's our security at stake. It's our people, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our children. And we need to do better. All right, now let's move on to other news making the rounds this morning. President Bola Tinubu expresses confidence in the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Edo State ahead of the November governorship election, stating the party is on the path to victory. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered Binance Holdings Limited to provide a comprehensive data or information of all persons from Nigeria trading on its platform to the Economic Financial Crimes Commission. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, yesterday confirmed that voice and data services that were disrupted by last week's undersea cable cut have been restored. The Naira strengthened at the official window, ending on a stronger note compared to its performance at the parallel market. It appreciated yesterday, closing at 1,597 and 34 kobo, signifying a 5 Naira 41 kobo gain compared to 1,602 and 75, which closed on Friday. Now, on the foreign scene, the United States has issued its strongest public warning yet to Israel against invading the crowded city of Rafah in the Gaza Strip. Former U.S. President Donald Trump unable to get a private company to guarantee the $464 million he has been ordered to pay in a New York civil fraud case. And Japan's central bank has scrapped its negative interest rate as it finally begins unwinding one of the world's most aggressive monetary easing programs.